Good morning. I'll give it a second for anyone to hop on. I just wanted to finish up a series that I just started about motivation and mindset and behavioral change and coaching and what that's all about. My name is Lindsay Lombardi, and I'm from Find Your Freedom Coaching, and I wanted to quickly jump on and talk a little bit about what a coaching session looks like. So I know like a lot of people get a little bit concerned or a little bit like worried if they think about coaching and they're like, well, I really don't want somebody forcing me to do something or pushing me too much. Like some people just want to like be able to feel like they're making their own decisions. So what I wanted to clear up is that that's exactly what coaching is all about. It's like a coach is just there to help you become aware of the things that are stopping you in some way or helping you decide what direction you want to take. Whatever it is that you're dealing with, a coach is really there to help you with the awareness and the accountability of it. So I just want to go over what a coaching session looks like so that, maybe there's some people out there who won't feel as, concerned about trying it out and getting a coach for whatever it is that they need. Because I think people hear the term coach and oftentimes they think of like a sports coach, right? Somebody like screaming at them, telling them what to do, things like that. But when we talk about more like life coaching and wellness coaching or even like therapy, it's totally different. So let's go over what a session looks like, especially the initial session. First off, you and your coach would kind of look at the general outcome, go over what your goals are. This is where we help you. This is really, the goal setting part is really for the coach. It's for the coach to know like what you have going on in your life and what your goals are. So we get a better understanding of what it is that you want and how you want to get there. We look at, your short-term goals, your long-term goals. What does it look like if you've achieved those goals? What would be different in your life if you actually got there? Then we can kind of move on to something that's more beneficial to the client, which is looking at the situation and kind of like looking at the starting point. What's happening in their lives right now. This is where we can really kind of ask certain questions that will help raise awareness for the client. So we'll ask like, what's happening in your life right now? Who's involved? What's involved? What makes it an issue right now? Why is it so important to you? Ideally, where do you want to be with it in 6 months to a year from now? What are your feelings around this issue? Really dig deep and figure out what it is like that's currently happening. Then we can go into some of the options around what's happening right now. And this is where you get to choose. Again, this is your choice as the client. We don't tell you what to do. We just have you kind of figure out if out of all the choices, what would be best for you. So this is where, we start to ask, what have you already tried? What have you tried in the past? What's worked? What hasn't worked? Maybe we'll take a look at all the options that are on the table currently and figure out, well, out of all these options, which of these options would you want to choose from, right? What options what choices would give you the best outcome? And what choices might match, what you're working on, like what your lifestyle's like right now. So you don't want to set yourself up for failure either. A lot of times people will like try to do too many things at once, and then they're in this like overwhelmed state and they can't get anything accomplished. So it's best when like the coach and the client really come together and figure out what out of these choices, what's going to best suit, what my needs are, what my priorities are, what my lifestyle is like, because you don't want to set yourself up for failure either. So we go over all of that. We look at all the possible choices that you have, and then we kind of come together and create an action plan. So this is where the coach will help you review everything and kind of clarify all the different steps involved and make it kind of concise in action steps. This is where we kind of come up with the game plan. And we look at like, what's the first initial step? Because that's the most important, right? Just get started, just get going. How will you take that first step? When will you do it? And, and if it's something that if it's a long-term thing, by when will you accomplish this? And how willing are you to get started on that first step? Sometimes if it's like you're really not that willing to do something, your coach needs to know, because maybe that's not the best first step for you. And last, we're going to look at the things that might sabotage you, because we're all going to get stopped in different ways. So we look at that. We want to know, well, what does that situation look like? So we know when it's coming up, we know how to deal with it. So we figure out if this thing occurs, we already have a workaround scheduled for that. And then at the very end, we kind of look at it like we go back and review everything. So typically, in that action plan step, the coach will kind of give you a nice plan, kind of homework to follow, and you can kind of go out in your life and do that. But then we come back together to figure out how to review that. So typically we can check in different ways. So one is like, yes, we'll meet up again. Normally I do like every other week with clients, but while you're actually out in your own life and doing whatever it is that you're doing, there's different ways that you can also maintain and kind of figure out where you are. So we can have checklists. We want to look at like how we're progressing, right? What measures can we look at or take to see what's happening there? When are we going to get together to review it? When are you actually working towards your goal? Do you feel like the action steps that we plan together are getting you closer to your goal? And then when we come back in those 2 weeks, we kind of review everything and figure out, was that a good fit for you? Because sometimes we think that we're on the right path, and then we realize, oh, well, maybe what I thought I wanted doesn't look exactly like what I thought it was going to look like, and maybe I need to change directions a little bit. So I hope that is helpful for those of you who haven't ever done a coaching session or had a coach in some way, and I hope it makes you a little bit more aware that it's like more about you choosing what's right for you and you choosing the best direction for your life, rather than somebody else telling you the answers. It's really you becoming aware, and you have everything you need within you already. Like you don't need somebody else to answer a lot of the questions that you have, and to figure things out for your life. It's already there. You just need somebody to maybe help you make these choices and become aware. So I hope you guys have found this helpful, and I hope that it helps you in maybe hiring a coach in some area of your life, whether it's business coaching or life coaching or wellness coaching or some other area. It's super important to have someone not only to help you become aware, but to stay accountable too. All right. Thanks, guys. Talk to you tomorrow.